All right. Hey, it's Friday. Whoa. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing your Friday night with us at the Music Maker stage. I see some familiar faces and some new faces. So you're going to get your phone out right now. Normally I say put your phone away, but now I'm going to say take it out because you need to like, follow, and subscribe to us. Okay? So Music Maker stage on Insta, Facebook, YouTube, Delgado Guitars Music Maker stage at YouTube, and here's all our hashtags. So that's your homework, okay? And also, I'm Julie. I'm one of your hosts. Tim Hibbs, your other host, and this is your home away from home. So make yourself at home. And we have Webb Wilder tonight, which I know you know. Awesome guy. It's going to be an awesome show. It's going to be an awesome interview. You're going to find out things that nobody else knows. Okay. But also, while you have your phone out, go to our website. Our website's musicmakerstage.com. We have a full calendar there. We have a sign up for a newsletter. We have an old-fashioned paper and pencil. You can sign up tonight, where you'll get only 2 emails a month. I don't blast a lot, but to stay up on those shows. We do a show like this on Friday night, twice a month, and try to bring you something unique, try to bring you an artist that you can actually really get to know instead of just listening. And do us a favor and tell people about us, because that's one of our goals, is to be the premier listening room on the East Side. So tell your friends, family, enemies, everybody. All right. What else? I think I covered it all. Oh, merch. You must have saw the merch when you came in, so that's for Webb, and after the show you can kind of ask about that, and you want to bring merch home with you, and I know you do. And we also have merch for our shop and space, Delgado Guitars, hats, hoodies, cool t-shirts, hatch print, you want it. It's going to be Christmas soon. So anyway, without further ado, and we're live on the web, on YouTube, so without further ado, help me welcome Webb Wilder. Woo!
Thank you, Julie. Hello, folks. It's Friday night at the Music Master stage. I should have just tuned backstage and walked out like Roy Rogers. Well, let's see. I guess this is a song about making the most of things. I just had to laugh to keep from crying. My heart stopped, almost dropped when you laid the news on me. I just had to run to keep from crawling at your feet, begging, darling, please, don't take that thing from me. What'll I do now? Won't you tell me, please? It's hard to know where I stand when I'm down here on my knees. I just had to smile to keep from frowning. A happy clown, inside I'm down. Ever since you said we're through, I just had to ask to keep from wandering. The mystery was fogging me. Like a fool I played the sleuth. What'll I do now? Won't you tell me, please? It's hard to know where I stand when I'm down here on my knees. I just had to laugh to keep from crying. My heart stopped, almost dropped. But when you laid the news on me, I just had to swim to keep from drowning. A swollen stream of tears and dreams, a white water turning blue. What tell me, please? It's hard to know where I stand. Hard to know where I stand. Hard to know where I stand when I'm down here on my knees. I'm so low I could sit on a dime and swing my feet. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is great. Thanks so much to Delgado Guitars and the Music Master Stage for having me, and to you people for coming. And to all you people out there on the yes, give yourselves a hand. All you people out there on the intrawebs, watching at home. We did, the latest album is called Night Without Love. We did an album a few years ago called Mississippi Modern, and 3 of the songs have the word fool in the title. No authorities came to prevent us from doing it, so we said okay. And this is one that I like to do. Well, I'm not just anybody's fool. I only play that part for you. For a chance with you, there's not much I wouldn't do, but I'm not just anybody's fool. Well, I'm not just anybody's clown, but I'll bring the house down for you. So remember, when you're laughing with the crowd, that I'm not just anybody's clown. I'll put aside my pride for a chance to win your love. One kiss is enough to make me hunger for your touch. You know, an ordinary fool would have given up and gone. It takes a perfect fool to keep hanging on and on. Well, I'm not just anybody's fool. Just anybody's fool. I only play that part for you. For a smile from you, there's not much I wouldn't do, but I'm not, oh no, just anybody's fool. I only play that part for you. So remember, you're laughing with the crowd, that I'm not just anybody's fool. No, I'm not just anybody's fool. No, I'm not just anybody's fool. Thank you. I can't remember who I was reading this, but it's on my mind this week. Someone said Bruce Springsteen told them to be the song. That's kind of cool, isn't it? Because I always say you should inhabit the song. You know, you should inhabit the role. If your acting looks like acting, it's not good. No matter what it is, if it doesn't look like acting, it's great. Don't let me catch you acting is the thing actors say to one another. At any rate, well, I'm a rough and tumble guy. mess with me, or you know why. We're a demolition derby with a railroad tie. I'm a rough and tumble guy. I got a song that I can sing. I got a guitar, I can make it ring. Ain't gonna worry about the by and by. I'm a rough and tumble guy. Been known to fall, but I get back up. Don't try and tell me I ain't tough enough. I'll be rocking till the day I die. I'm a rough and tumble guy. You wanna fuss, you wanna fight. I ain't afraid of nothing going bump in the night. Been hit by lightning right between the eyes. I'm a rough and tumble guy. Been known to fall, but I get back up. Don't try and tell me I ain't tough enough. Well, I'll be rocking till the day I die. I'm a rough and tumble guy. I've been to hell and back again. Brought back some barbecue for all my friends. Man, it was smoking, that's no lie. I'm a rough and tumble guy. I'm known to fall, but I get back up. Don't try and tell me I ain't tough enough. I'll be rocking till the day I die. I'm a rough and tumble guy. I'm a rough and tumble guy. Woo! I'm a rough and tumble guy. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's a song I wrote with the great John Hadley, a great songwriter who is a great co-writer to many people here in Nashville. And if by any chance he's listening, we're wishing him all the best. You know, Elvis was not perfect, right? But he was Elvis. So in many ways, at his best, of course, he was our king. And Elvis detractors bother me. I saw the latest Elvis movie. I had zero expectations, which is the best way, Patrick, to go into a movie, because then you just experience it without preconceptions. And it was like a big ball of impressionistic Elvis, you know, and I really dug it. And I'd like to do you the song in which we address this subject. Well, there's about 10 billion people who'll back me up on this. From the piss-poor post-hole digger to the rocket scientist. Hell, I bet you can't find a preacher who don't like burning love. And your band's a bunch of weak sisters if they can't play Rip It Up. And if you don't think Elvis was the king, baby, I feel sorry for you. If you don't think he was number one, you're full of number two. Well, every two-bit tabloid had bad things to say. From New York City to La La Land, as in his state he lay. If you don't think he paid for his sins, try paying for a few of your own. Their serpent's tongues can't reach him now. He's at peace in his heavenly home. And if you don't think Elvis was the king, baby, I feel sorry for you. If you don't think he was number one, you're full of number two. Well, maybe he couldn't spell pneumonia, but he did know a thing or two. Yeah, he knew how to flat out get it, and he passed it on to me and you. He kicked open the door for those who came before with a joy that has never been known. So let's drink to his name, dance on his grave, rock and roll away the stone. And if you don't think Elvis was the king, honey, I feel sorry for you. If you don't think he was number one, you're full of number two. Even though Bob Dylan knows the words to Moody Blue. If you don't think he was number one, you're full of number two. Even those Beatles who could rock it right through the roof would probably be the first ones to admit there wasn't an Elvis in the groove. And if you don't think Elvis was the king, people, I feel sorry for you. If you don't think he was number one, you're full of number two. If you don't think Elvis was the king, baby, I feel sorry for you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I believe in eclecticism. The Beatles could not be more critically acclaimed. They could not be more financially successful, any more enduring, or any more popular in their day. So why do you have to make one kind of sound? They didn't. Of course, they were the Beatles. That helps. Deke Dickerson is out in Lubbock, and he went to the Buddy Holly Museum, and he looked at some of the list of Buddy Holly's records. And the Crickets, of course, were sort of the prototype for the Beatles. Same story. His record collection had Little Walter and total pop stuff, you know. And having said all that, my last album had some rock and roll, but it had some other stuff, and we didn't know what to promote at radio, and we didn't promote this song. And then after the smoke cleared, people started going, you know, I really like this song, you know, maybe we should have. It's called, and the theme of this song is Things Aren't Always What You Think. Held your hand, it felt like the first time. A hand it held fast in this whole life of mine. I thought reindeer could fly, fairy tales were all true. That was before I cried for my illusion of you. What's in a name? Never forget a face. Between pride and shame, it's a hell of a race. You swam to the shore, I sunk like a shoe, still reaching for my illusion of you. Failure don't make much of a crutch. In the wink of an eye, I was caught in the clutch of a sad, stupid lie masquerading as truth. Poke in the eye, an illusion of you. I know, so close, almost. I'll be alright, getting used to the feel. I see the light, it seems to be real. It's hard to let go of something untrue when it's all that you know, like my illusion of you. Failure don't make much of a crutch. In the wink of an eye, I was caught in the clutch of a sad, stupid lie masquerading as truth. A poke in the eye, an illusion of you. I held your hand, it felt like the first time, and it held fast in this whole life of mine. I thought reindeer could fly, fairy tales were all true. That was before I cried for my illusion of you. Thank you. I got all the way almost to the end before forgetting the chords. One thing to write them, it's another thing to learn them. Every time I put on the capo, I go bluegrass for a minute. Except I don't have the chops. With all apologies to bluegrass practitioners, I respect your musicianship immeasurably. But anyway, I like horses. Y'all like horses? Well, and you know,
riding horses, you work up a heck of an appetite. I used to say that riding horses makes you want to eat cows. Give me a steak. I've been riding all day. But cattle and horses, often collided in some unfortunate ways back in the day of the trail drives and all that. I tried to work all that into this song that I wrote with my old buddy Bobby Field, and at the time I had some horses. And I was reading all this stuff about Western history and cowboyography, I'm kind of a Rexall Wrangler, armchair, drugstore cowboy, I ain't no work for wages. The W's spell Webb Wilder, not work for wages. Anyway, so I came across a turn of phrase that fascinated me. The phrase is carrying the news to Mary. Now, we've all seen Western movies where the saddled-up horse returns riderless to the fort or ranch, and a picture tells 1,000 words. The characters in the frame are concerned because somebody was in that saddle at one point in time. So apparently there was somewhere in the Old West once upon a time where the euphemism for that, if you saw such a horse saddled up, riderless, running, was, he's carrying the news to Mary. Ooh. So I thought, man, I got to write that song. And here it is.
The Nighthawk said he seen the damnedest thing. It was the little blue roan out of Billy's string with his centerfire rig, McCarty reins, carrying the news to Mary. Trouble on the bed ground, Cabot got spooked, bull calf moan, that's when the lit blew. By morning I can tell you there were more than a few carrying the news to Mary. Prairie dog hole takes a pony's leg, Buckaroo takes a fall and it claims his fate. Wild bovine grind his bones to dust, his 6-shooter lay on the prairie to rust. Got to play a hand, win, lose, or draw. Got to take a look, see to know what you saw. A riderless horse against a half-lit sky is a sobering sight when the wind is high. The Nighthawk said he seen the damnedest thing. It was that little blue roan out of Billy's string with his centerfire rig, McCarty reins, carrying the news to Mary. With a woman weeping, asking everyone why. Punches at a loss for words, tears in their eyes. Old Blue standing there pawing at the ground. Windmill groaning is the only other sound. Man saddles up, starts making tracks. There ain't no way of knowing if he's coming back. Hey, the Nighthawk said, see the damnedest thing. It put the little blue road out of Billy's string with a centerfire rig, McCarty rays, carrying the news to Mary. Carrying the news to Mary. Carrying the news to Mary. Carrying the news.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Webb Wilder, everybody. Oh, my goodness. My name's Tim Hibbs. If you haven't met me, I'm going to step up and just speak with Webb for a minute. Don't worry, we'll get the music back on very quickly. But it's time for the interrogation here.
Is that your candy bar?
That is your candy bar.
Wow, perks.
Sorry, we didn't get the cheese tray, but
No chocolate M&Ms. Oh, sorry, I can accommodate you there.
there we go.
In fact, I'll get rid
I'll be glad to take it off your hands.
Okay, right. Yep.
Well, I wanted to start with the present right now. This is the brand new album, Night Without Love. And speaking of Elvis, you got this pressed in Memphis,
Yes.
the vinyl.
Yes, and felt good about it. And you know, folks, this album dropped, as we say in the trade.
Yes.
You know, really when it was bad with the lockdown and the pandemic, I think maybe April of 2020, all the gigs got canceled in late February or March. And so, we're putting out a new record. I mean, you know, and we, you know, then you hear, man, all these things are happening. And you hear, well, Taylor Swift is going to keep, and this was wonderful. You know, she's going to keep the employees at Grammys paid, but everybody was and is doing their release shows at Grammys, which is prestigious, really. And they got a stage and everything. Well, that was canceled. I mean, the release show was in my basement on the intrawebs. So yeah, but what we were lucky about is we had a slight delay in the pressing, but then things really went into like super delay, you know, supply chain issues and all that stuff, and the employees in the pressing plants were sick and out and all that. So people that were expecting their records, I sort of just got under the door somehow on mine.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, and I love the artwork. I see that it is approved by the Cosmic Code Authority here.
Let me tell you,
Any comic fans will get that reference.
the guy that did that cover is a bigger rock legend than me, because he did the Eat a Peach album cover by the Allman Brothers.
Oh, wow.
Right? And he did my Doodad album cover, which is an album I'm very proud of,
Yep.
and his name is Flournoy Holmes. And he's a good friend of my label guy, Michael Rothschild. They go back a long ways. And so we've known Flournoy a long time. And Bobby Field wrote this song, Night Without Love, many years ago, like late 70s, early 80s or something. And I always liked it. No one's ever mentioned it to me, by the way, since we put the record out. They like other songs on there, and nobody's mentioned that one. But I thought Night Without Love is the great album title because you could make it like an old romance comic book. So in my mind, that's what we wound up doing. So I talked to Flournoy, and he sent me one piece of artwork. I said, not quite. And then the next one was this. And the Cosmic Code and all that, all the shtick and the jokes and are his.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm very proud of him. He did an amazing job.
By the way, have I told you how much I like Night Without Love?
The
I
song?
just wanted to mention that.
Well, you don't have to like it.
No, I do. I do.
There's been all but universal love of the cover. People like the cover, you know.
Well, speaking of going back, I want to go back a little ways. Now, you are from Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
And just recently inducted into the Mississippi Music Hall of Fame.
Well, I'm very proud to have been inducted, but it wasn't that recent.
It
was
wasn't?
probably, I don't know, maybe 10, 8 years ago now.
Well, with the pandemic, everything is relatively
Right.
time kind of became
What's
fluid.
wild is, I mean, I can't explain. I mean, I'm very proud to be from Mississippi, and you know they have the license tags now that they're late in the game. The authority figures down there have realized, oh, music, and when you know Elvis, Elmore James, all these people came from there. I mean, the list is unbelievable, and so the license tags, they say the birthplace of America's music. I'm like, do you have to take all the credit? I think they could have said the home office, and that would have been, you know.
Yeah. Well,
But anyway, so I was totally jazzed. And the same night I went in, this is what's weird, though. I was honored to be there, and I made a special trip. And they had named, Elmore James went in the same night as
Oh, wow.
me. But they just read his name like on a grocery list, like, and next, you know, coming up, you know,
Elmore James.
ground steak, 59 cents a pound, you know.
Because
I
he
mean,
had
Delaney Bramlett, you know.
wow, both those guys had a head start on you. So
Yeah,
you caught them.
it was really an honor.
And you know, Mississippi, we were talking about this. Mississippi has more Grammy winners than any other state, which I think is a pretty astounding fact.
Well, and that may be why, and they have a Grammy museum in, of all places, Cleveland, Mississippi, and I went down there and was treated royally and wonderful, and the great Scott Beretta conducted that interview, and Scott Goldman at the one in L.A., crowds about the size of y'all, which are my specialty, and I really appreciate it at both places, but the level of respect from the institutions was like I was Elvis. I mean, it was great, you know.
Well, that's great. Speaking of respect, I want to go back now to the 80s because, getting the Wayback Machine. I first heard you on a compilation album called City Without a Subway that was put together by WRVU,
Yes.
the college station at the time at Vanderbilt. And it had all these great people, you and Bill Lloyd, and then that led me directly to get It Came From Nashville.
And
which
City Without a Subway had a great cover.
it did, by Howard Fenster, Reverend
yeah.
Howard Fenster.
But if that led you to that, fantastic.
Yeah, and tell me about that time in Nashville. Now, this is a time, people still think of Nashville as country music. Now, we've got all kinds of music, but that was really, in the 80s is when rock, I think, really started to rise above, and people were noticing Jason and the Scorchers and some other things. Tell me, and you were selling out the Exit Inn,
Yeah.
it seemed like every night. Tell me about that
We
time.
had to hire our own security at the Exit Inn.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Hell's Angels paid with beer?
No, it was rock solid security.
Okay.
And they were great, and we still made money, and we had to pay them, so it must have been a pretty big crowd.
Wow,
right?
yeah.
And we recorded half of It Came From Nashville, an album that a lot of people seem to still love live there with the state-of-the-art equipment. Like Johnny Rosen, Fan of Sound, was outside with a 2-inch tape in
Nice.
a truck with Bobby Field, and they were mixing on the fly, and then we remixed some stuff. But when we put out the bonus cuts later, we went back to, hey, original mix pretty good, and went with that. But yeah, so that was all great. It was a great time, you're right. And to be a rock and roll artist in Nashville, though, and this is probably one reason why it was great, and it was like a crucible kind of thing, was it was still a bit of an uphill thing.
Yeah.
Nashville those of you who haven't been here a long time just have no idea how it's changed. And not always for the better. The density of things and the crowdedness and all that and the cranes, I'm not all about that. But anyway, when I first came here, the Squares really ran the show here. It was kind of the buckle of the Bible Belt, and they really kind of held things down. I mean, I told this guy I was a musician, he wouldn't rent me a house.
No.
And then what I realized later is actually that they used to call the country stars Opry trash.
Ooh.
So I mean, there was this very staid, conservative thing in the oldest sense of the word that was. Now people just say, "Bring us your drunks," and so we don't have tourists, we have revelers.
You're
But that's
poor, you're tired, yes.
So people would tell you, well, if you have a rock and roll, and my deal was always, I just read a great Loretta Lynn quote today. She said, God rest her soul, she said, you have to be first, best, or different. Well, I was a little different, because here I was with this hat and glasses and this less than rock star looking frame playing rock and roll. And not only that, they would say, don't tell them you're from Nashville. Like, Jason and the Scorchers were Jason and the
Nashville Scorchers, yeah.
And they had to drop it, right?
When EMI
because
put
there
it
was
out.
this stigma. You couldn't be a rock band from Nashville and get a record deal. So we called our first album It Came From Nashville, and wound up getting a couple of major deals after that. So anyway, it was really great. And Cantrell's was the epicenter of alternative rock or whatever. And Jason, I saw the gig on West End in front of Cats where he climbed the billboard and broke his tooth and all that's on the microphone. And Tim Krekel and the Sluggers were my favorite band.
Oh, yeah.
They were great. And the White Animals just invented their own everything. They had their own label and management, and they had a touring circuit, and that was unbelievable. So it was pretty exciting, yeah.
And, speaking of your band, the Beatniks, you normally when you play, I think it's with a full band, full electric. Do you like playing acoustic like this?
I like every version, and now I do some 3-piece too, and I did a few duo gigs. I find that every different configuration has its freeing and confining. But what's confining about one is freeing about the other and all that,
Absolutely. Well, what should we expect next from the last of the Full Grown Men here?
Well, what I really need to do, and I have no plans of any formal nature, but I really need to be recording in November since I don't have any gigs then.
Okay.
But, I'm doing a radio show almost daily. I don't know if the folks know about that, but I'm on WMOT Roots Radio Monday through Thursday afternoons, and then again Friday afternoon with a chart show.
Right.
And so I love it, and I'm doing that. But so, I have some gigs, but it'd be nice to get in the studio again.
Did you write much during the pandemic?
Not a whole lot. Well, I started a zillion songs and still do that. I start one about every day.
Okay.
I'm real guilty of putting them in the phone. There's a good idea and never looking at it again.
Well, at least you've got a head start on it, though.
Yeah, but everybody is aware of this. Like McCartney is talking about it in the interview, and he said, we used to, if we started them, we finished them. He said, I try to resist that He's got the temptation to do it too, but he said he's trying to not do that. So it's a common malady now. It's oh, I'll just put it down.
Well, Webb, I want to thank you so much for being here. This has been a huge thrill. We want to get back to the music.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Tim is a knowledgeable and enthusiastic guy on the right side of the force to boot.
Well, thank you. And don't forget, we've got a lot of merch, albums, posters, one T-shirt. We only have one T-shirt left.
We have a few left online. We're in the process. We'll get some new shirts. We're phasing the old model out. So there are a few at webwilder.com, and we have one XX here tonight, and a bunch of everything else.
Okay, and we do have Webb's PayPal address over here too. So fear not if you don't have the cash. All right, thank you so much. We'll let you take it back over.
Thank you. I will be in Dallas in December, by the way. Okay, got to get strapped in again, don't I? Well, Guitar Tech's on vacation again. Okay. My mother was a wonderful person, but she grew up in the Mississippi countryside during the Depression, motherless, with a bunch of sisters and grandparents and a daddy. And she had all these country colloquialisms that peppered her speech, and some of them you'll hear in this song. Some of them were poultry metaphors and things like, "What's good for the goose is good for the gander." Well, that holds up in today's, equal rights kind of world. But you have to judge a person by their time. My mother said, "A whistling girl and a crowing hen always come to the same sad end." And I know it sounds rough to think they chopped girls' heads off for whistling back then, but you have to realize that was another time. They didn't really. There are a lot of misconceptions that girls don't like root beer and that they don't whistle, but there's some root beer loving girls out there, and there's some girls who are really good whistlers. I tried whistling on my album, and nobody commented on that either. Maybe that's what ruined the whole thing. On that song that nobody mentions, Night Without Love, I whistled on it. I'm sorry. I thought this thing was a little closer to what we needed. Okay, this is a song that I was talking about called Hitting Where It Hurts. I wasn't going to do this song, but I saw some comments on something today. It was someone's favorite song, and I thought, well, just as sure as I don't do it, I'll get grief for it. So I don't know what you think you're trying to do. There ain't a loophole that you ain't crawled through. You cooking the books, you throwing the game. They ought to call it off because of rain. I'll keep on keeping on trying to make it work. I got to tell you, you're hitting where it hurts. I'm fighting feelings I ain't never felt. It's like you're letting fly below the belt. I'm in a pinch, I'm feeling the crunch. Blindsided me with your sucker punch. Let me make my point before I meander. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Heading where it hurts. Heading where it hurts. Doing dirty work. Now it's a real shaky deal. You're hitting where it hurts. the same sad end. Your hair's a scare, your dress is a mess, got lines in your eyes, champagne on your breath. You got a wild streak so dang hot, light a cigarette if you hit the right spot. Heading where it hurts, heading where it hurts. Doing dirty work, now it's a real shaking deal. You're hitting where it hurts. Cue guitar solo. Heading where it hurts, heading where it hurts. Doing dirty work, now it's a real shaking deal. Heading where it hurts, ah, you hit me where it hurts. Doing dirty work, now it's a real shaking deal. You're hitting where it hurts. Thank you. All right, thanks so much. One that we never got in there that my mother, another poultry thing, my mother said, if something was kind of puzzling or interesting or astounding, she would say, well, that beats a goose a goblin. Back to the Night Without Love album. There are a lot of different songs. There's a Los Lobos cover on there. There's a Stoney Edwards cover. There are the various songs that I wrote or co-wrote with people. This is one I co-wrote with two dear old friends of mine years ago, but it had never made it to anyone's record. Maybe there's a reason. I don't know. But I thought, well, I always liked that song. I'll do it. I'm a sucker for one good line, and the line that suckered me in on this was Bobby Fields, and it's, the one thing worse than crying like a baby is crying like a grown-up. It hit as quick as a wreck on the highway. It all happened so fast. Sunday morning over a cup of coffee, we laid our love to rest. I took it hard, I took it on the blind side. Yes, I took it pretty tough. The one thing worse than crying like a baby is crying like a grown-up. We buried our love, it's no wonder. Might as well be 6 feet under. Buried our love, that's no lie. We let a good love die. Our love ran down like a wind-up play toy. Wound up, wound out. When it was new, it took off a running. It hit a wall and stopped. You said that you were all out of romance, so matter of fact, I guess I'll go and buy a wreath of flowers, but flowers won't bring our love back. Buried our love, that's no wonder. Might as well be 6 feet under. Buried our love, that's no lie. We let a good love die. Tell me that you want to bury
It hit as quick as a wreck on the highway. It all happened so fast. Sunday morning over a cup of coffee, we laid our love to rest. I took it hard, I took it on the blind side. Yes, I took it pretty tough. The one thing worse than crying like a baby is crying like a grown-up. Buried our love, that's no wonder. Might as well be 6 feet under. Buried our love, that's no lie. We let a good love die. Buried our love, buried our love, buried our love. Thank you. Oh boy, thank you so much. It sounds good in here. Of course, Manuel, our sound man, is doing a wonderful job as well. Might be time for something kind of bluesy. It is Friday night. Right down the street from what used to be Flum's Body Shop. After you get rid of me, who will the next fool be? I know, I know, I know, I know things you want to know about the woman I love so. After all is said and done, I know you wouldn't be satisfied with anyone. After you get rid of me, tell me who will the next fool be? Will he believe all those lies? Wind up with tears in his eyes. I know, I know, I know, I know. I'd like to be the one to tell him so. Oh, after all is said and done, I know you wouldn't be satisfied with anyone. After you get rid of me, tell me who will the next fool be? Oh yeah, another fool song. Will he believe all those lies? Wind up with tears in his eyes. I know, I know, I know, I know. I'd like to be the one to tell him so. Oh, after all is said and done, I know you wouldn't be satisfied with anyone. After you get rid of me, tell me who will the next fool be? Thank you. Thank you.
rock and roll was really good up until about 1973. And then we had to take it to the shop for repairs, you know. And while it was in there, this thing happened called the progressive country movement. A lot of people like to call that the outlaw country movement. But to me, the term outlaw makes it narrower. You know, it was a broader thing, and it was Guy Clark, Jesse Winchester, Willie Whalen, Jerry Jeff, Steve Fromholtz. All these people were exploding Emmylou out of this, and it was great. And I loved all that stuff, too. And I discovered this guy named Stoney Edwards, who has never really gotten his due. Tim could probably tell you more about him than me. But he really was cool, and his roots ran very deep. And he was produced by a guy who had already distinguished himself as a world-class songwriter named Chip Taylor, right? Chip Taylor. It's confusing because he's John Voight's brother, but they ain't got the same name. Anyway, Chip Taylor's a great songwriter. He wrote Wild Thing. You go like, well, wow, that's a certain type of song. Then he wrote Angel of the Morning. I mean, son, that's heaven and hell right there. And I think he wrote this for Stoney, but Stoney's singing on It's Great. So anyway, I had to haul off and think I could do it, right? It's very short. Sometimes a man's got to get it together. Lately I've been feeling a little left out. I don't claim to know nothing about something that I know nothing about. But I feel a heartbreak coming and I've got to hold on to something, and someday I'll wake up and find that you've gone with your somebody else. I'm holding on to myself. I know I ain't had much schooling, and there's a whole lot of things you know more than I do. But me, I've got this feeling about feelings and the way they're showing through. And I feel a heartbreak coming and I've got to hold on to something, and someday I'll wake up and find that you've gone with your somebody else. I'm holding on to myself. I'm holding on to myself. I'm holding on to me. Thank you. Oh, we got time for a couple more, I reckon. Back in 1985, Tim was talking. You might have discovered us in '86 or something, but whatever. We really started playing gigs in the March of '85, and we weren't first, we weren't best, we were different, right? And so it was a buzz around town about this band, and then the great guys in the band, the Beatniks, a problematic name people don't get right. Beatniks is bongos, goatee, not us. Anyway, so nobody knew that we would hit the big time and bounce off. So they thought, hey, these guys might do something if they do one of my songs. You know, I can drink vodka and lift weights in Florida like Bobby Russell till I die, you know. So, Bobby Russell was a great songwriter. And so anyway, people would pitch us these songs. We didn't really like them. Heck, we had Bobby Field. He's a great songwriter, and I wrote a few things, and we always did other people's songs that we did know about. You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, you know. It was like, no thanks, you know. So these friends of ours who really were honest-to-God songwriters, we sort of knew they were up to snuff, were fans, and they would come to all the shows, so they were kind of hip to my trip, you know, and they said, we wrote you a song. We're like, could be the end of a great friendship, you know. So we were pretty impressed. It's a well-written song, and we over-arranged it for like a day-long rehearsal. I mean, the song has one measure of shuffle beat. Why? You know. And the funny thing is, I ran into one of the songwriters at Walgreens last night. The great Wally Wilson. 2 W's, see? Wally and Webb. It was John Hadley, Wally Wilson, and Kevin Welch wrote this song. And for me. And it's kind of like if I had a Margaritaville, it's my Margaritaville minus the money, you know? But see, the Margaritaville thing, it's bigger than music, man. There are Margaritaville shoes. That's when I knew, right? You know, it's called Poolside. I got a nice apartment, got a window with a view. I get up every morning and I go down to the pool. Everybody's pretty, everybody's nice, everybody's got a little something on ice. I never go swimming, cause that ain't cool. But every day you're gonna find me hanging around the pool. Poolside, baby, laying in the sun with my dark sunglasses, yeah, and the radio on. Sitting in a chaise lounge, greased down, turning brown, let it hit 103. I'll be poolside if you're looking for me. Every woman in the place has got a novel in her face. You know they didn't come here to read. They're looking for a man with a dark brown tan. Every now and then I catch them looking at me. I got a little white styrofoam cooler. Woo! I got a nice cold beer in my hand. Yeah, I really got it, man. Nobody puts me in the shit. I got a full-time job working up my tan. Poolside, baby, laying in the sun. Now with my dark sunglasses and the radio on. Sitting in a chaise lounge, greased down, turning brown, let it hit 103. I'll be poolside if you're looking for me. Well, it's a wonderful world we live in. Just a few basic common sense rules. No running, no pushing, no profanity, and no dogs. No dogs. No dogs. No dogs at poolside. Laying in the sun with my dark sunglasses, yeah, and the radio on. Sitting in a chaise lounge, greased down, turning brown, let it hit 103. I'll be poolside, strictly on the cool side. Oh, mama, I'll be poolside if you're looking for me. Poolside, yes, I'm strictly on the cool side. Honey, I'll be poolside if you're looking for me. Poolside if you're looking for me. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Well, so that was on the album that Tim was talking about. It came from Nashville. And we were really in quest of the major label deal. And we were advised by our management, who hadn't become our management yet. They said, look, I know it's a free gig. Free gig, 2 dirtiest words in the, you know. But it's in New York. A free gig in New York. Okay, that's interesting. But it's this thing called the New Music Seminar, and I really think you guys should go. So we routed some gigs up there. I had a terrific sinus problem that later required surgery, and I was having like migraine-level headaches. The guitar player had terrible stomach problems. We go to this club in New York. The roof is leaking. This is all true. And the sound on stage was horrible, and we got signed to Island Records. And the song that, if anything, is remembered from there the most would be this song. It's about a guy with an unusual profession. Saw the ad in the paper, said the hell with it all. Took a gig with the circus as the human cannonball.
didn't take long to learn my trade. Very first show, man, I blew the folks away. Now the job's a little risky, but I'm my own boss. I got to tell you now, it really gets me off. I live in a tent with the world's strongest man. When I met the mother, like to broke my hand. My baby, she's the lady in the how I act. When I'm feeling tense, she walks on my back. Now the pay's okay, benefits are great. Get to shoot the bull with the world's smartest tape. Well, I'm the human cannonball. Yeah, I'm the human cannonball. Oh, y'all. I'm a hot shot, I'm a cool breeze. Underneath the big top, I'm the big cheese. I lay it on the line, let it all hang. When I go, at least I know I'll go get the bang. Yet I'm living every kid's dream. It's a buzz, it's a gas, it's a real scream. Well, I'm the human cannonball. I'm the human cannonball. Oh, yeah. All right, folks, just make yourselves at home. Now have a snow cone. Enjoy the show. They put me on the cover of the USA Today. Show the world what the human cannonball got to say. On the Carson Show, said AC, what you do, you got to be right out of your tree. It's a little risky, I'm my own boss. I got to tell you, John, it really gets me off. Hey, I'm a human cannonball. I'm a human cannonball. Oh, yeah. Woo! Yes, I'm a human cannonball. Well, I'm the human cannonball. Oh, yeah. I'm blessed on. Thank you to our friends from Pennsylvania who came here for the show. Happy birthday. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. Thanks to Delgado Guitars, the Music Master Stage, and Tim Hibbs.
Let's hear it for Webb. One more time. Woo!
Thank you.
The man, the myth. All right. Thank you so much for coming to Music Maker Stage. Come back. You're friends now. Now you have to come back. You know where it is. Tell your friends. Sign up for our newsletter. Come buy merch. Come talk to Webb. Come talk to me and Tim. Let's hear it for the magic that's happening behind the table. Manuel, Ava, and Lila. They're the bomb, right? Okay. Drive safe, y'all. Woo!